from the belt to the plate. A swing and a miss. And that's the winner. That's the winner. A World Series winner for the Cardinals. Smith corks one into right down the line. It may go. Go crazy, folks. Go crazy. It's a home run. And the Cardinals have won the game by the score of 3-2 on a home run by the Wizards. Go crazy. Swinging a long one into left field. Adios, goodbye, and maybe that's the winner. A 3-run homer by Clark, and the Cardinals lead by the score of 7-5, and they may go to the World Series on that one, folks.
What a team. What a ride. The Cardinals are world champs in 2011.
Welcome to That's a Winner podcast. As always, I am Ryan Jenkins. With me, as always, as well, is Josh Brown. Josh, a lot of things happened today, even though the Cardinals weren't playing. We had a tweet go, I wouldn't say viral, but
you stirred the pot up.
Yeah, stirred the pot up a little bit. Max Kellerman on ESPN today talked about Albert Pujols and possibly doing something illegal in baseball to get to the numbers that he's getting to this year. And it kind of stirred it up. I put the tweet out there, and it's over 150 some odd thousand conversations happening with it. And then on Facebook, it's over 50,000 or so as well. So a lot of people are talking about it. So let me just bring it up. We'll just start with this.
Let's hear that clip.
Let's hear it.
This just in, a time machine. The machine, Albert Pujols, continues to swing a hopping his 697th home run on Sunday versus the Pirates to move past Alex Rodriguez for fourth on the all-time list. Pujols trails Bonds, whatever. It's a joke. Come on. That's the juice. Hank Aaron, who did it clean. Babe Ruth, who did it clean on the all-time homer chart. By the way, it is amazing how Pujols, who was in steady decline for years, suddenly it's like he discovered the fountain of youth. I don't know how he's doing it. Oh, my God, the bat speed, everything. He's killing the ball. Matter of fact, bartender, I'll have whatever he's having. I mean, this is unbelievable. He sure has turned back the clock. I just wonder if there was anything that could be pointed at. How does a player turn back the clock like this? I guess it's willpower and practice. All these years between then and now, he hasn't been practicing, apparently. Now he's getting sued.
So, the first time I heard that, I was watching it live, and I thought, maybe, man, that pissed me off. And then I was like, maybe I'm overreacting. Was my first thought. And I started to rant a little bit on Twitter, and I was like, maybe I'm overreacting. So I decided to rewind it and watch it again. And then it made me even more upset. I'm like, you know what? He's being serious. Like, he is really questioning if Albert Pujols is cheating.
Oh, yeah. It was sarcastic, tongue-in-cheek, like without saying the words steroids or cheating, but very sarcastic, clearly what he's insinuating. Let me read you a couple of guys in our mentions on Twitter to this video tweet you sent out on Max Kellerman. Take a lap. That's one of the nicer ones.
Was that Gino, I think?
Yeah, that's Gino.
Yeah.
That's at Crash STL. We love Crash.
Yeah.
He's a great follow on Twitter at Crash STL. This is from at Pauly3323. What a colossal buffoon Max Kellerman is. WTF, better back it up at Lone Star Blue Note. And this goes on and on and on. At Cardinal Stats and Facts, they're a great follow. It's disgusting how so many writers and media personalities keep trying to discredit what Albert is doing without any evidence. His bat speed is slightly slower than it was last year, but they don't like to use stats at ESPN, I guess. And if you followed Max Kellerman's career at all, this is par for the course, right? He's been a part of ESPN First Take in the past with almost said Skip Bayless. It used to be Skip Bayless, Stephen A. Smith. And if you ever watched that at all, I mean, it's a joke. I mean, these guys, they're trying to come up with these hot takes to get reactions. And we knew that. We posted it because we knew there would be some interactions, but also because we knew like it was just a terrible take. This is a terrible take. Like, just let us enjoy what is happening. I mean, think logically for a minute. If you actually believe that, there's a few screws that might be loose upstairs. Why would Albert Pujols take steroids in the final season of his career and jeopardize and stain his legacy? If he was ever going to do it, it would have been 2014, 2015, 2016, somewhere in there where the plantar fasciitis just completely like mobilized him and he could not get on the field and could not swing a bat. that would have been the time that he would have done it. It's just let us enjoy what's happening, man. I mean, that's the first thing I thought when I saw that. I was like, why do you want to
Like, what's
piss on everyone's parade?
What my first thought was, why would he do it? Like,
Exactly.
what does Albert Pujols have to gain by doing this late in like he doesn't he gets paid more because he had 700? No. He gets to be a first ballot Hall of Famer if he hits 700? No. Like, he has literally
He's locked in already. He didn't even have to play this year.
There's nothing to gain from this from Albert Pujols. Like, literally nothing. But then also stats, that comes into importance. He said steady decline. Albert Pujols has never hit under 18 or 19 home runs in his career minus COVID year of 2020.
Yep.
19. So right now he's at 17. So he's on pace to do exactly what he's done over the last 22 years of his career.
Yeah.
Even though he had down years, that he still hit at least 19. He only hit under 20 like twice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's absolutely crazy. But also, then let's talk splits.
Yep, that's what I was going to say.
He's batting 200 this year against lefties. So is this the
200?
Is this the magical strain of steroids that only works against left-handed pitchers?
Yeah, I saw you tweet that out.
It makes no sense at all. I just can't comprehend like what his thoughts are. Now, he is a shock jock. Like, right, that is his job. He's the Howard Stern, Rush Limbaugh,
in sports,
of sports.
Him,
Don Imus, those guys. But
they make a living off of it.
Right. Their job is to shock you and make you have a reaction. And I guess he's done that. But also at the same time, could you be sued for saying that? I mean, maybe he wasn't direct enough. Because that's what you got to think of next is, Albert Pujols has sued people for saying that he's done steroids before.
I did not know that.
Yeah, so you got to think about repercussions. And if you look at our mentions, I hope people are tagging him. He's mentioned it in our tweets. People are all over it. Now, he doesn't seem to be an active user.
No.
But he does have 150 some odd thousand followers, or even more. So I hope that he's paying attention and sees little us leading the charge.
This is a national media member just trying to stir it up that has not watched probably any, full Cardinals game, just seeing some highlights. But it's just like you said, man. And this is a credit to Ollie. I think Ollie has managed Albert as perfectly as you could this season. And that's something now that as we're getting towards the end of the year that I think we're starting to see and be able to give Ollie some credit for. He's managed Albert perfectly, and he's really done it like he said he was going to. 363 average, 12 of his 18 home runs are against left-handed pitching. Now he does have 6 doubles and 6 doubles each from the left versus left-handed versus right-handed pitching, and he does have 6 home runs versus righties, but it's not even close how much better he's hitting against left-handed pitching. Now, he's been better against right-handed pitching since the All-Star break, and especially this last month or so as he's really heated up. But this is it was just a shock factor. It was to try to get a reaction out of people. And I think if Albert was doing this in games where we were already up by a lot or we were already down by a lot, you wouldn't even hear this kind of take from him. And that's what's been so remarkable for me of what's been happening with Albert, that he's doing this in the biggest moments of the games. I mean, and we'll talk about the series this weekend in Pittsburgh. Albert Pujols, 42-year-old Albert Pujols, in the near middle of September, saved your bacon in a 3-game series against the Pirates. He is the reason that we won 2 of 3, almost single-handedly.
Well, absolutely. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I mean, I don't know if you want to go there now and talk about that, or if we're done with Max Kellerman. I don't know. Are you done with giving him?
I almost don't want to give him too much time of the day.
Yeah,
because it's just so preposterous. Like,
I was looking, but speaking of,
and the fact that Albert's never, we even say this, he's never been tied to
Right.
PEDs ever. And I brought this up to you earlier. One of my first thoughts too, and I saw this was, well, where was this kind of national media scrutiny with David Ortiz in 2016 when he hit 315 with 38 home runs and 127 RBIs and almost 50 doubles at the age of 40? Nobody was talking about that. And David Ortiz had some ties to PEDs. Now, he had never gotten like a positive test or
Sure.
proof of that, but there was like ties to it. His name was brought up, and the whole biolab stuff and all that came out
Right.
about Barry Bonds. Albert Pujols has never remotely had any connection to PEDs or steroid use. So it's a ludicrous take.
Yeah, and then I also asked about Tom Brady. Tom Brady is 45 years old, and he plays a much more demanding sport
Yeah.
than baseball. And I haven't heard anyone question him. They always just talk about, oh, his regimen, his this and that.
His diet.
His diet. He doesn't lift anymore, and he does this and does that. I mean, Albert is pudgier than he's ever been.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Yadier Molina is a fat boy now, right? Like, these aren't like pristine athletes, like you talked about earlier. Rowdy Tellez.
Yeah.
These aren't dudes.
These are beer league softball players.
This isn't, the National Football League where you have to be super, super fit. So why aren't people talking about Tom Brady being 45 years old and playing at the level that he is? I just don't get the take. I was trying to look for it, but someone also mentioned that on the ESPN radio, they were talking about it, that a magic elixir that he had been taking or something of that, like Keyshawn maybe in the morning. I don't know. It was a whatever morning show. I'm not sure what morning show would be on ESPN's mothership of a station, radio wise or other. But that's what they were talking about as well. So like, I don't know. It really just irks me that he would even go there because, as you said, there's no connection to anything ever. And Albert is nothing proven except a stand-up guy always. There's been no drama. There's been no
integrity and character has never been questioned throughout his on and off the field throughout his whole career.
Literally, like, there's guys that have issues off the field, and he is not one of them. Like, even talk about greats, right? Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant and all these.
They've got their off-field issues.
Yeah, there's all the issues of other things that have gone on.
Mm-hmm.
And Albert Pujols just hasn't been tied to any of that. The biggest thing you can say is that he and his wife of 20-some-odd years are getting divorced when she had a brain tumor, right? And no one knows what their scenario is, their situation. So how can you say that's anything outside?
Never been anything
right
more than, a great father, always giving back to the St. Louis community and charities and everything else. It's crazy, man. I mean, it's crazy. You know what Albert deserves? This is what Albert deserves. Wearing a new Breaking T-shirt here. My Tommy Two Bags shirt isn't coming yet. Respect. That's what Albert deserves for this season, because what he's doing is I don't think you could have written a better Hollywood script, honestly.
No.
I mean, the only way it gets better at this point is if we win the World Series.
Absolutely.
And
he reaches 700 first. But,
exactly.
But
yeah, that's what we want
this
first,
point, right?
Yeah. I mean, they need to get the casting going for his movie in the next 5 or 10 years. I mean, that's where we're at this point for me.
Can I play Tommy Edmonds?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
There you go.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'll play Paul DeYoung because everybody tells me, like,
obviously.
I don't know what role I'm going to have in the movie. I guess that 1 week, with the Yankees and where he came back and hit some home runs, that can be my cameo.
I'm just a Tommy fan, so I don't think that I look like him by any means. So just I'm about as tall as he is. And that's what I got.
It's fantastic.
I don't know who would play Albert.
Yeah, that'd be a tough one.
Well, we should have Buff on for this conversation. Who knew?
Oh,
who
knew? He'd have some thoughts.
Who knew we would we'd jump over to this type of conversation? But yeah, I mean, to kind of put a bow on that part of it is, Albert Pujols, as you said, has done so much for the community of St. Louis, and I'm sure he did a lot out in L.A., Anaheim as well. And he just doesn't deserve any of that coming his way. Like literally, like my if you saw the tweet, Jeff Jones, is that right?
Yep.
Yeah, Jeff Jones put out Pittsburgh, his last home run on Sunday night.
Yeah.
Pujols hit it to center, and the couple got it from Pittsburgh. Her father died a year ago on that date, and he asked if Pujols wanted it back, and Pujols said, "No, thank you, but I'll sign it and give you a few more signed ones as well. You're gonna enjoy that memory more than I am."
Yeah.
Albert, that is awesome, but you know what I also read from that is Albert doesn't care about this home run thing. He cares about winning baseball games and winning the World Series. I looked it up. In the 7 of the 10 years that he was not in St. Louis, he did not only not make the playoffs, they were under 500. 7. So he also had
that's where they're at this year too.
He also had a quote on Sunday night about he didn't want to talk about the Cardinals being over 500 for 15 straight years. And that's nice that he doesn't want to talk about that, and that's not important. But how important is it that in the 7 of the 10 or 11 years that he was not in St. Louis, his teams did not finish over 500? In the last 15 years, 11 of which were without Albert Pujols, they did finish it. It's important. It is important because that's what makes players want to stay in St. Louis.
Yeah.
That's what's important to make players want to come to St. Louis. And he didn't want to talk about it. I thought it was very important that was the case, because 7 out of 11 times, Albert did not finish above 500 and only played in 3 playoff games
Yeah.
for the Anaheim Angels. 3, one series. That's how many,
It's
by the way,
crazy
is
to
the
think
same as
about.
Mike Trout, by the way.
It's crazy to think about.
One series in the playoffs for Albert Pujols and Mike Trout while they're in Angels uniform. One. Albert last year with the Dodgers, whenever he traded halfway through the season, played in more playoff games and
Right.
series than he did the entire time while with Anaheim. So
It's crazy. And the Angels, by the way, 61-80, already eliminated, 30 games out. And
they're eliminated already?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're eliminated.
So they're eliminated. Trout has had 7 straight games with home runs now.
That ties, or I think that's tied. No, he's one away from tying the MLB record, which is 8. Griffey Jr. had 8 in a row. I don't know if that was with Seattle or Cincinnati. I'm willing to bet it was probably Seattle. But, yeah, two of the best. I mean, honestly, 2 of the greatest baseball players of our generation right now are on the Angels, and they're 30 games out and eliminated.
And they were 20-5 to start the season, something like that.
And look,
they were running away with it early on, and all of a sudden, poof.
And everyone's talking about Aaron Judge, and deservedly so. If I had to put money on it, I do think Judge will probably win the MVP over there. But what Shohei Ohtani is doing, even still this year, is insane. I think they said he became the first MLB player ever to hit 30 home runs in a season and win 10 or more games, and he's got an ERA under 3 again.
Right.
I mean, I don't know how you don't
Future
give him the most value. The tough thing with me with the most valuable player is when I think of valuable, I think of, well, they're getting you to the playoffs.
Right. I think
Ohtani's the most outstanding player.
I need a definition of what they actually look for, because I tend to agree a most valuable player in any sport. I don't care if we're talking about football, basketball, hockey. I don't even know what they call it in hockey, or baseball, but like, is the most valuable player is the guy that is the most valuable to your team. Without them, you don't make the playoffs. Without them, you're not any good.
Right.
Now, to be a really great player, Shohei Ohtani is.
Yeah.
But without him, they still are 40 games under 500.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't
And that's
matter.
not his fault,
No, it's
obviously,
not.
but that's where I think baseball, because the MVP's voted on before the postseason, I think, starts.
Right.
Right.
Yes.
So I think baseball has always, to me, it seems like the voting has been statistically the best player. And I think even if you go that route, it might need to still be Shohei this year, because he's doing it on both sides. That's a whole nother tangent we could go off on an MVP, but all that to say, yeah, it is pretty wild to think about. And even for us, I mean, I remember that feeling when Albert put on the Angels jersey of thinking, man, this could be, these next 10 years could be rough for Cardinals baseball. I mean, I remember thinking, like, how are we going to keep, making the playoffs or getting to a World Series without Albert?
I mean,
and 2 years later, we were back in the World Series.
That few years was John Mozeliak's best work.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I thought that Yadi was going to go when his contract was up to Anaheim as well, because we knew how close they are.
Albert,
yeah, we knew how close they were. We know how close they are. I thought that's what he would do next as well, is just go out there.
They gave that money they had saved.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And he didn't. And then put a good team together in 2012.
Yep.
And then
brought Carlos Beltran over, which was a fantastic signing for those 2 years.
Then obviously went to the World Series in 2013 and still had some good teams, 14, 15. But, then later on in the decade, they weren't as good, but still made an NLCS in 2019 on a overachieving team.
Oh, yeah.
That was probably the worst case scenario for the Cardinals, really. I mean, for fans. Like, for them to achieve that, then they felt like they didn't need to fix as much because they went to the NLCS and got boat raced by the Nationals.
Then you had the COVID season and the excuse of
and then
ticket
money
sales and everything there.
And we're still $20 million right now under what they spent in 2019. $20 million short. What could you do? This is not on our rundown of what we're supposed to talk about, but what could you add to this team right now for $20 million? I would say a lot.
Oh yeah. More pitching for sure to start. I mean, a catcher next year, hopefully.
Right.
If we do that, if we go that route, yeah. We could go off on a whole, segment there of that. But I think staying on topic with this, especially with where we're at with Albert, the fact that we're 3 home runs now from him with 700, with what, 20 plus games to go?
Yeah, I have
remarkable.
I have next to my rundown. When will Albert hit number 700? So,
well, I'm going Thursday night. So I hope it's then.
Let's do the math on it. So the Cardinals are 83 and 58. right? So 83 plus 58 is 141. So they have 21 games left.
21 games.
21.
At this point now, if he doesn't do it, it's going to be a disappointment, right? Or it's going to be a bummer. You're not going to be disappointed because he's already given us a pretty incredible season.
At the All-Star, look, at the beginning of the season, we both said, yes, Albert's going to do it. Sure that he was going to do it.
That was our heart.
Yeah,
we were saying that with our heart.
Our heart said, yes, he's going to do it. I bet it. I bet it on DraftKings or one of them. I have a lot of good bets out there that are all in line to hit, by the way. I mean,
there we go.
If you want me to run them, Cardinals to win the division, Cardinals, Brewers, Cubs to finish in that order in the division.
It could happen.
It's right now. It's sitting there. You know,
the Cubs part's the wild card.
Yeah. And then Albert hit 700. Nolan Arenado to win MVP, and then Cardinals to win the World Series. Those are all bets that I have out there that are open currently from the beginning of the season. Now, Arenado is just, you know, we'll talk about Goldie later. But anyways, so when will 700 happen? So before the season started, we said it's going to happen. At the All-Star break, it was like,
nah, probably not going to happen.
This is not happening. Like it's just not. There's no room for it to happen. Now, as you just said, it's like, when is it not happening? It's definitely happening. 3 away with 21 games to go. So 1 every 7 games, 1 a week. Albert Pujols can hit 1 a week.
He might hit 3 in a week.
Yeah, absolutely. He might hit 3 in a game. He's done it 4 times in his career in regular season. We all know the one in the World Series, which only 2 other guys had ever done. So he has 3 in him as well in one game, which would just be, can you imagine if it was at home, the pandemonium of 3 home runs in a game to get to 700? Could you imagine? I can't.
It would be insane.
I really don't think I can fathom that.
It would be insane. It would be look, I was there, what was it, mid to late August when he had the 2-in-1 game against the Brewers. Well, who do we play Tuesday? Tomorrow we play the Brewers. The last time he faced them, he popped 2 home runs to win a game. It seems like, especially in the second half, he is stepping up, and his homers are coming in the biggest moments of the games.
He's against, not padding anything.
No,
this isn't like
huge moments.
Like I'm trying to think of, like, you know, some old dude comes up and hit some home runs. Like,
and look, he had some of those early in the season. You know, we had a blowout win against Pittsburgh where he hit 2, and one of them was off a position player.
Yeah, off the position player.
And that's great. He needed some of those to get there.
Got to take the easy ones.
Yeah, but this is, I mean, ever since the second half, I mean, you could argue he's probably been our best hitter.
He's taking the best.
Corey Dickerson, who's hitting 400 since the All-Star break.
He's taking the best at bats in the last 2 weeks. 100%.
And most clutch for sure. That's not even a close.
And it's what you expect from Albert Pujols, though, is what is weird, right?
That's why I think it's going to happen this week, especially with these 2 coming against the Brewers.
He's just not going to have a lot of opportunities against lefties. Now he's hitting right. He's off right now. The last 2 in Pittsburgh were both off righties.
Yep.
So like obviously he's seen the ball really well. He's taking big daddy hacks and doesn't really care.
Oh yeah.
He's just trying to be impactful. I don't know what's going to happen this week based on the matchups, and I think he's gonna be due for another day off as well, which we probably think is going to be on Tuesday. You think tomorrow, Wednesday? Yeah, so Wednesday.
Corbin Burns goes Wednesday.
Yeah. So he'll probably get that day
gas.
off.
Yeah,
he could come in as a pinch hit though. But what lefties are the Brewers have in the bullpen? The Devin Williams is a lefty, no?
No, he's a righty.
Oh, he's righty.
Suitor, they've got the Taylor Rogers guy who was the one he hit his second one off of last time he played the Brewers, and he's been giving up home runs to everybody.
Right. They're closers, so yeah, you could still.
They're doing a bullpen game tomorrow.
You can still see him in late innings for sure. Yeah, you know, I think he's gonna take that day off. I think
you'll see him in the lineup for sure tomorrow. I think he'll be off. Not in the lineup Wednesday against Burns, and hopefully we haven't had any luck in the last few years against Burns. I mean, he's always torched us, but hopefully we could get him out by the 5th, 6th inning or so. Maybe a lefty comes in, maybe he gets pinch hit. I think the wild card is going to be these 5 games against the Reds. So that starts Thursday.
Yeah.
I was looking at those matchups because I'm going Thursday night and I'm going Sunday afternoon. Every Reds pitcher matchup is TBD. There's no, I don't know what's going on with their rotation right now. I can't even name you without the Hunter Green kid who is their flamethrower. He's hurt. I can't even name you without him who their rotation even is.
Isn't he one of them? No, that may be the Brewers. There's a bunch of random named dudes.
But that's a team traditionally he's hit pretty well against. And you're still at home all through the weekend. Right. So if they're, I mean, I do think he's got like a legitimate chance to get to 700 by Sunday. I mean, why not? Why not?
Yeah.
If he can get 1 in these next couple of games, I think there's a very good chance he gets there by Sunday.
You know, It's possible. Like I think I said before he hit these 2 home runs, when will he hit it? Will he hit? Where will he end up? 698, 697, 699, 700 plus. Like, and most people said 698, 99, and 700. Like that was
Right.
where they would end up. And I said he could hit one more, or he could hit 10 more still. Like I just don't know where he sits. You know what I mean? He could still
Right.
really just absolutely go off on a tear and just be Albert Pujols again. Like it's very possible. And what is crazy to me, there are 2 things of what I think about is I really became a Cardinals fan when I was young in the Mark McGwire home run chase. I didn't grow up in a sports family, didn't have anyone pushing me to any direction. My mom worked for Schnucks and had box seats. And that's, in Old Busch Stadium, box seats weren't anything special.
Yeah.
They were very high. My first game was a Mark McGwire in 98 hit a home run in like August. So those are big home runs. Those are important home runs then. And that's when my really became a super Cardinals fan. And I think of this as the same idea that people are so enamored with watching Pujols hit, but the game still matters too. That wasn't the case with a Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa race. Like the game didn't matter. It was you were waiting every every round of at bats to come around to see what he would do.
Yeah.
And when everyone stands up, like when I went to the Braves game in the Braves series, Albert would come up and everyone would stand up and get loud, and then
And immediately all the phones are out.
but then quiet.
Oh yeah.
It was so quiet. It wasn't like, a playoff game and everyone's hooting and hollering the whole time. You're just loud, loud, loud.
Yeah.
No, it's like everyone has to take a collective deep breath. Like, oh crap! Like let's
Yeah.
get this going. And then he does whatever, and the place goes nuts. Like that's that part is crazy to me of just how it's being taken in differently. And then I think about growing up watching Albert Pujols, and I had an appendectomy when I was 18 years old, and I was getting wheeled out of the room, and the Cardinals game's on in my room to go into surgery. Like I was about to have emergency appendectomy, and the nurse starts pushing me out of the way. I said, "Hold on, pause for greatness. Albert's up. He hits a home run. Bang!" I said, "Okay, now we can go." Like I mean, me and a friend of mine, we would always say, "Pause for greatness."
Yeah.
And I feel like we're back there.
Oh yeah.
Where it's like you have to stop what you're doing.
Every at bats must watch.
I have multiple TVs in my basement, and I watch multiple games, whether it's football, baseball games, whatever. But if I'm not listening to the Cardinals game at that time, even on my big team, like a Sunday Colts game, I had that on the big screen, but I had the Cardinals Pirates on the other one. But Pujols comes up, I turn the little TV up, turn the bigger one down, and Pujols goes off.
Because you got to hear the Danny Mac
You have
call
to
too.
hear Danny Mac because
Yeah.
Danny Mac
He's been phenomenal.
is the man. Danny
Yeah.
Mac does not get enough credit.
That's what I'm excited for too. He doesn't get enough credit. I'm excited for 700 call because he's talked about it. He's like, you don't plan it. I mean, you start to kind of think about the situation and how it'll happen, but you can just tell Danny Mac on his call is not the kind of guy that he's like practiced it out and planned it. He really lets the moment come, and man, he's made it. He's made it fun too. I mean, all these video clips are just so fun to go back and watch and listen to him.
And I can say about Rooney as well.
Oh yeah.
Personally, I don't love listening to Rooney on the radio because I think every ball is a home run. Like he gets really excited and
He gets hyped.
It's popped out to shortstop. I can't tell exactly.
He's like the radio version of the cameraman that pan up on the high fly balls.
Yes, I just can't tell exactly what's happening when I'm listening to him. But his calls of some of these home runs have been awesome as well. But you're pairing that with video, so it makes it easier for me, if that makes sense. Like, no one can compare to Jack Buck, but like when you're listening to him, like I feel like I could visually see the game, if that makes sense. When Rooney is out there, I'm like, oh, wait, what's happening? Or Mike Shannon, for that matter. Oh, I have no idea what's really happening in that moment because of excitement or lack of excitement. With Shannon, it'd be like, oh, there's a long drive home run. Wait, what? Wait, he just hit a home run? Hold on. Like, it's was the two opposite ends. And then maybe why Rooney over the last few years got even more excited because he's with Shannon in the booth. But
when Shannon toward the end too was so, just so quiet. I do miss like the, early mid 2000s Shannon of get up, man, get up, like that. I love those radio calls.
I have lots of Shannon stories too. We met him in 2009 at the All-Star game at the weekend at his restaurant when it was still bumping, and he's just hilarious, man. And we at the Hall of Fame weekend, and he just looks so bad, and he's just so slow, and he's changed a lot over the last 2 years because of COVID, and he had really badly. But but back to where Albert was going and where he's going. When will he hit it? I think it might happen on the road. Sadly enough, I don't think it's going to happen on this.
Not.
I don't think it's going to happen on this trip.
So then you think it's going to happen on this West Coast trip next week?
Yeah, I think he gets 1 or 2 this week. I think he does get 1 or 2. I just don't think he's going to get 3 of them on. That's 3 in Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. 5.
You got doubleheader Saturday.
Games. 6 games. You should be happy in theory with 1 in those next 6 games because of where he needs to get to 700 to at least get there. But I tell you this, if he hasn't hit it in the last game of the season's in Pittsburgh on a Wednesday, I'm driving to Pittsburgh.
We might have to.
I mean, if he's
we
at
might both.
699,
I still have never been to that ballpark.
I've been, and it's great. It's spectacular.
The bridge looked done, by the way. I noticed that this weekend.
I
It looked
heard,
nice.
it was not covered anymore. I don't know if you can walk across it, but yes, Pittsburgh is awesome, and I haven't been since like
road trip
08 or 09 is when I went. So yeah, if Albert somehow is off until that, which I don't want to happen, but I'll have to go. I mean, it's a 5-hour drive where we are here in Indianapolis. I think 5 or 6 hour drive.
Yeah, it's a little under 6.
A little under 6, yeah. Well, I mean, I think I'll have to just go. I don't know.
We can make it work.
There was no one in the stand the last game. I can't imagine that the tickets are going to be that hard to get.
Or you could just buy standing room tickets and then go sit in the bleachers.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, so you honestly believe it's going to happen this weekend? Are you in your head or your heart? Because you're going to 2
I'm
games
going to
in the
2
next,
games. So that's
6, right? So
that's where my hope is. This is all heart. I mean, I hope it happens Thursday night when I go because I'm going with a buddy. But
3 would be amazing.
Yeah, but I think if it were to happen, I'd be probably more likely to see it on that Sunday game as opposed to this Thursday.
Sure.
Because I mean, what's going to have to happen is he hits 2 tomorrow night, and I'm not counting Albert out to do anything at this point.
Right.
It's a bullpen game tomorrow for the Brewers, and typically when they do bullpen games,
home too, though.
Yeah,
it's going to be
going home. It's going to be rocking. He has stepped up every big moment at home, especially against the Brewers. I know we're already up 8, but if we win these 2 games, it's over.
Right.
It's over. I mean, we're going up 10 games if you win both of these.
And
it's over.
The magic number is 14.
Yes.
Kennedy Boyer, 14. I mean, the trajectory. I mean, it is already not over, but it's over right now.
It should be.
It's very, very difficult to not win the Central at this point. We have to have a historic, and with Pujols chasing 700, no historic collapse is happening.
No,
it's not. The team is. It would not. It's not going to happen. Knock on wood. It just can't happen because Pujols is going to be lifting this team up by himself, like he did this weekend, where he won 2 games because of himself. He's like, no one else wants to hit. Goldie, Arenado, you guys aren't doing much. Let me hit, and then Arenado follows him up with a double to be able to score some more runs. But he wants to win, and this is what he's doing. So, I think it's going to be a West Coast trip, and but
I will say if he doesn't do it this week, I do hope that it comes down to those last 7 games in Pittsburgh.
With Pittsburgh against Pittsburgh.
Against Pittsburgh, because one of those is a home series,
right?
And the last series I think is on the road, right?
So I think it's 3 or 4-ish. The last home stand ends October 2nd at home, and then they go 3 on the road in Pittsburgh.
Yes, October 3rd, 4th, 5th is on the road at Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
September 30th, October 1st, 2nd is home series.
Yeah,
against the Pirates.
So the last 6.
We got 2 random games again against the Brewers in Milwaukee. It could happen there.
Yeah, it really can. I mean, I think at this point
that'd be a closer trip for us in Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
3-4 hour trip.
Yeah, it would be.
And you don't have to worry about a rain out.
So you're saying if it's what day of the week is that game?
That's the end of September. Let's see.
What's the day of the week?
Oh, well, that's the tough thing. It's just like this week. It's Tuesday, Wednesday. It's a little 2-game series. They're both night games, though.
So if it happened if he gets to 699, it's a Wednesday night game. I might have to make it up. I don't know.
Yeah.
Hopefully my wife's not listening.
But what you mentioned, I think we can talk about coming in our next segment. We talked a little bit about nobody wanting to hit this weekend.
Yes.
Nobody really wanted to hit this whole week. And I think I texted you several times. This feels like the worst week we've had forever in Cardinals baseball, and that probably shows how spoiled we've been this year. I mean, look, this last week we went 4-3, and if you just said that on paper, you'd think, oh, not too bad. If you watched all the games, it felt a lot worse than that because the offense was very stagnant. And you splitting with the Nationals is not ideal, especially after that huge five-run ninth inning comeback win. Tommy Two Bags to hit the walk-off double. I thought for sure. I mean, it seemed like an afterthought that we'd win the next
Oh my
day with
gosh.
Wainwright on the mound, and it
Oh.
just didn't happen. The offense has been cold. Paul Goldschmidt specifically has been very cold. Arenado hasn't been as bad, but Goldie, man, and we were talking about this earlier. It's been rough these last 15 games for him. He's hitting 208, 354 on base percentage, so he's still drawing some walks, but only a 358 slugging, which is rough. 2 home runs, 2 doubles, 4 RBIs, 13 Ks in 15 games. His power's kind of disappeared right now, and I've told you this. We've both mentioned it. It seems like lately he's missing very hittable pitches. And when I say very hittable, I mean like right down the middle. And it's either he's just a tick off, maybe he's looking for something else, or he's swinging at bad pitches. That
Yeah.
almost like Tyler O'Neill slider away type swings. And I don't know if he's just a tick off. Look, it's hard to beat. We can't be hard on Goldie. He's been so good the whole season. I mean, these guys are gonna go through slumps, but we got to hope, just like you mentioned the other day, that they didn't peak at the wrong time, that we can just hopefully this is a blip and we go back into riding high in the playoffs, because it's been tough for him right now.
Yeah, that's my worry, is that the Cardinals were clicking on all cylinders a month early. And last year they did it going all the way up into, to the playoffs, really. And I felt like if we were in a series with the Dodgers, that we really had a chance
Oh yeah,
because of how well they were playing. And
Yeah.
obviously we played it until the bottom of the ninth inning. But they were really running with it. Now they seem like they're just falling backwards. And the only reason they've won, like if you 3 of the games, they came back to win in the ninth inning, or
Yeah.
eighth or
very
ninth inning.
late.
And without those 3 wins, this podcast has a very different tone to it,
Oh yeah,
because it would be catastrophic. Now, thank goodness for Albert's 2 home runs, Tommy's walk off, those sort of things. Or we're talking about a flip of what's going on, and the Brewers are now 5 games behind us
Yeah.
instead of 8.
Yeah.
Like that's a big turn of events for being able to come back, but it also shows resolve in the team that they're able to do that and come back and win games in weird ways, in different ways, without your 2 best players hitting. Now, Goldie has lost 17 points to his batting average in the last 2 weeks. He's now no longer first in the batting average.
It's Freddie
Like,
Freeman now, right?
it is now Freddie Freeman, who just won NL Player of the Week as well. So, like, this Triple Crown thing is going out the window at this point. Like,
Yeah.
it's bleak for that. Now, it's only been a 2-week slump. And usually Goldie goes on a month-long slump when he slumps, like in April. It's usually a full month thing, and then all of a sudden he's red hot. So if he has 2 more weeks of it and then he figures it out, then we're good going into the playoffs,
Yeah,
right?
that's what you hope for.
You look for that, right? But he usually is cold at the beginning of the season and hot in the second half. So it has me worried, but I also wonder if his back has any issues, because he's had back
Right.
stiffness and tightness and all those issues.
Arenado, they've mentioned, has had some of that. He skipped out on the All-Star game this year
Right.
for that.
So, like, I wonder if the wear and tear of the season has come up to it at this point. It is September. It's the end of the year, and this is when guys are running down. Like they're getting beat up. And so,
If it is a back thing, that would make more sense that Ollie sat him yesterday.
just give him time off 2 days in a
because
row.
of the day off today as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you would think, like, whenever O'Neill or Tommy or Newt is slumping, they're moving them, they're doing different things, they're putting them in different positions. But with Goldie, what they do is they make him DH.
Yeah.
Or
Give
they
him
make
a day off the field.
Right, give him the day off the field. Why do you do that? That's not because of his bat.
Yeah.
That's because of his body, right?
Keep him off his feet a little bit more.
That's
Yeah.
what makes me think it's more of the back stiffness and tightness that he's had at different times.
When he's the type of guy too that you wouldn't hear about it.
Right.
I mean, they wouldn't be divulging that to me. He wouldn't say anything. And I don't think Nolan necessarily, well, I mean, Nolan's situation, he got asked about it.
Right.
Because, well, why aren't you going to the All-Star game?
Right.
He had to tell them.
He could have said he was having a baby soon.
That's true.
He could have used that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm saying that he would really actually is
Goldschmidt, if his back was hurt, he went there and hit a home run.
right. No kidding. Yeah. And so that's a big part of what's really happening. Cardinals are one of the teams in sports. I think about other sports. I'm an IU fan as well, Indiana basketball, and they don't divulge anything
No.
that happens. They just try and hold it all in. And the
Or they
Cardinals,
tell us things aren't near as bad as they
Right.
actually were, like with Flaherty or whoever else.
right. And so like you never really know what's exactly going on. So I think 2 days off, maybe it's just a body thing, and they're hoping they can get him back on track, which most importantly for this season is not what's happening right now, and not 700 home runs. Most importantly is 14 is the magic number. Most importantly is trying to put ourselves in a good position to play at home in the playoffs and make a deep run, right?
Yeah.
Like everyone to be at full strength and ready to rock and roll for the playoffs, and have a decent run. That's really where we should be hoping and thinking for, not, these little things, which Cardinals fans love to overreact. So
Oh yeah.
what's happened in the last 2 weeks, which with Goldie and with the team in general, even though they've had a good record, they haven't played great, is not that big of a deal.
No.
It's not much going on.
And it's not probably entirely surprising to us. We've talked about how this last several years, this team, for whatever reason, seems to play down to the competition.
Right.
Last time we were on this podcast was August 31st, that 13-inning win against the Reds, where it was a game where it seemed like neither team wanted to win for some reason. Offense finally came back, Pujols, sac fly, Newbar hit a home run. Since we were on the podcast episode that day, it's been 10 games since they went to the weekend series against the Cubs. They swept that.
Yep.
They swept that series. Won 8-0, 8-4, and then 2-0. Ever since that 2-0 win against the Cubs on Sunday, which, by the way, that was an Albert Pujols 2-run home run that won that game, if you remember, to sweep the Cubs on Sunday night. I think that was Sunday Night Baseball. Ever since that game, September 4th, is where it seems like the offense has been struggling. September 4th, 2 runs. September 5th, a loss to the Nationals, 0 runs, 6-0. September 6th, we won 4-1. 7th, we won 6-5. All 5 runs, though. 5 of those runs came in that 9th inning comeback, September 7th, last Wednesday. And then you lost 6-11 to the Nationals on Thursday. And then, again, Pittsburgh was kind of another thing, not scoring a bunch of runs or coming much later, way later in the game off of a big hit. So I think, look, they're 7-3 in the last 10 games.
Right.
As bad as it seemed, as bad as the offense we watched was, they found a way to win, and that's what matters. I think and we didn't have this on the lineup docket for our segments, but part of what's made me a little nervous too is you've had back-to-back outings now of particularly Michaelis and Wainwright that haven't been that great.
Right.
They've been less than stellar. And Wainwright, I'm less worried about. He had some comments after his last start against the Nationals where Ollie wouldn't fully divulge, but he said we found some things we want him to work on that we think, and Wainwright even said my mechanics are out of whack. I'll get it fixed. Michaelis, man, it just worries me. He does not seem like what we saw first half. He seems like he's starting to get hit around a lot more. And I don't know, maybe if it's a fatigue thing with Michaelis, because we're getting down to, after the injuries he had last year, where this is the most innings he's pitched in a couple of years. So I don't know if he's getting towards a fatigue thing, but he's getting to where he's leaving a lot of pitches up. They're getting hit hard. And, the guys on BK and Ferrari were talking today, like, would you have him in your wild card, rotation right now? And
Michaelis has overachieved this year too.
He
right?
has.
Wouldn't you say?
He has raw, but I'm talking about right now.
Yes.
And, I look at Jose Quintana, and I know they haven't let him really last 5 these last few starts, but he has yet to give up more than 2 runs in a start for us.
Yeah.
I mean, I would take that in a playoff game. I would take 5 innings and 2 runs or less in a playoff game and then go to the bullpen.
I mean, I'm definitely
if it's like a game 3 thing.
I'm definitely putting in Waino and
Yes,
and
Waino and Montgomery, you're 1 and 2, or flip flop either way you
Right.
want if you want to make it a matchup.
I think I went Waino first,
Yeah,
just
he's
because
got the
at
experience.
home, game 1 of a playoff series, I went Adam
Yep.
Wainwright on the hill.
Yep. And he's earned that.
Yeah, and then Jordan Montgomery, yes, right. Like I want him. He's like you talked about.
He's
Jose
been lights
Quintana.
out.
Yeah, he's like a 1 point something
He's been
ERA.
lights out.
since
And
he's been
Quintana's
home.
is under 3
Yeah.
with us.
And then from there, I might still even be open to Jack Flaherty to be my 3rd starter too.
Yeah.
I know he didn't look great in Pittsburgh, but like it's start 2.
Yeah.
Of
Katie Wu said today, I wouldn't judge him until after 3 starts. I
Yeah.
want to see a couple more starts because the first start, I mean, you saw him get some big strikeouts. I think the most encouraging thing with him is the velocity has been there both
Right.
starts. And he's got to get ahead earlier in counts, stop walking people. And it seems like if his breaking stuff wasn't working, they're just looking for that fastball. if it's not spotted. You saw that in Pittsburgh. These are guys we never heard of hitting bombs off of Flaherty. So I do think he's somebody for sure in the division series you could look at. But yeah, I mean, this wild card round right now with our rotation, I might lean Quintana more than I would Michaelis at this point, which sucks to say because Michaelis had a really good year overall, and he carried us in a lot of ways in the first half.
Do you think that what he's done has earned a start in the playoffs?
It might. I mean, his contract and what he's done to come back this year,
Right?
Might,
because Quintana is free agent.
He's a rental at the end of the
right?
year. Yeah, he's a free agent.
Montgomery is one more year with arbitration, right? Obviously, Jack Flaherty's on the books, and Wainwright is up in the air of what's going to happen. Like, you have Michaelis for another year or two still, right?
I think 2,
Yeah. So, like, if he's your horse and he's given this season, don't you think that he probably thinks he deserves it? Like, I think it's going to be hard to go away from him.
It is. I think what you could do is you could go to him in game 3.
And have a backup plan ready to go.
Yes, especially if you're up. Well, actually, say if you're up 2 games, all you got to do is win 2 games and you're done.
And you're moving, yeah.
I think
because if you go to game 3, it's a
big deal.
It's a game 7.
Yeah, it's a winner take all, and
that's tough.
He's got to have a short leash if you're going to go.
But you say that, but who do I want in the game 7? Do I want Quintana, Michaelis, or Flaherty? I'm saying Flaherty in that position, right?
He did it for us in 2019,
right? Like in a game 7, because
he's been there.
That's what that is. It's a game 7. That's where I think that initially. But, with once you get out of that 3-game set, you get into a real series.
Yeah.
You're going to have 4 pitchers, right? You're going to have to pitch 4 guys because of the shortened gap in the playoff travel time. So that is even more important to the depth of this rotation that the Cardinals seemingly have all of a sudden that they hadn't had in years. And then that other teams with the Dodgers and the Mets with their injuries right now, they don't have the depth, or the Brewers obviously don't have that depth in these. And even the Braves, they don't have 4th and 5th guys that you can really, really, feel good about. And I feel like the Cardinals at that 4th and 5th, I feel better about them in those spots than I have since the guy that just retired, Edwin Jackson.
Oh yeah,
like since that 2011. Trade for him that really solidified the end of that rotation.
Yeah,
it was the same idea. And I think about Kyle McClellan, like whenever he pitched, I think that was 2011 as well. When he pitched,
made some starts,
made a bunch of starts and long relief and those sort of things. Like, and then he didn't make the playoff roster. Felt bad for him, but like that is like that type of level of consistency that you feel for. If you can just get through the weirdness of the first 3, which is better than 1. Definitely better than 1 game.
Yes. Yeah.
And I feel like the Cardinals have a lot that they can do moving forward. But like if you look at it as a game 7, I'm probably starting Flaherty if I feel good enough with him.
And really, no matter who you're starting, it's got to be a short leash.
Absolutely.
If it's Flaherty, then you've got to have maybe Quintana waiting to come in 4th, 5th inning if he's really struggling or not finding the plate or
I'll use all 3 of them if I have to.
Yeah.
If they go 2 innings each, and I still have the back of my bullpen.
I mean, one guy that's kind of been a wild card for this lately, we haven't talked about him a whole lot. Jordan Hicks has been pretty darn good
great
the last 2 weeks. And he's kind of been the guy. They've piggybacked off of Quintana. I don't know if you noticed that his last 2 starts. They let Quintana go 5, maybe 5 1/3, and then it's Hicks for the next inning or inning and a third. And he's been pretty darn good lately. He's getting a lot more strikeouts. He had bad luck the other night. It was a strike 3. I don't know if you saw that. It was a strike 3 call, but I mean, it was a slider right over the middle plate, and he got called a ball, and then the guy hits on the next pitch. So that was bad luck. But for the most part, he's been very good, even into a multiple inning, inheriting runners. He's been pretty good. I think he's a guy you could come in, whether it's Flaherty, Michaelis, Quintana, whoever it is. If they only give you 5, throw Hicks in there for an inning. That could be a weapon, especially if he's throwing that slider nasty and spotting up a sinker. So they've got options. I think it's a good thing. I think I'll feel better about the back end of the rotation if Flaherty and Michaelis settle down a little bit these next couple starts, and especially if Flaherty shows us a little bit more of what we saw, in 2019. I'll feel really good about the rotation. Really good.
And then the pitching staff in general, like you're talking about, then Ryan Helsley, he hasn't been as perfect,
not as sharp. A few home runs hit off of him lately,
but the only home runs that he's given up over the entire season have all come when we have a 3-run lead and he gives up a
Yeah.
solo home run.
Yep.
Like, if you're going to give one up, that's the time to do it.
It happened yesterday, and it
Yeah,
was still a 9-pitch inning.
Right. Like,
Yeah.
I think he's like saying, all right, I'm going to grip it and rip it, and I'm going to get these guys out. He loses one. He doesn't feel bad about it because he knows he can still go get the rest of them.
And they're good pitches still.
Right.
That happened yesterday. The kid, I can't even remember his name, but it was 101 inside.
Right.
And he spotted it. Kid was looking fastball. He turned on it and kept it fair.
101 in inner half. Like,
yeah, it wasn't right down the middle.
No.
So I'm not as worried about him.
No, I'm not either. But I wanted to talk about Ryan Helsley a little more as well. But like we talked about on the podcast last time we were on about his intro that it needed to be better. Like they needed to do something. He needed a I can't think of the guy also.
Edwin Diaz, get some pomp and circumstance where they get some hype going.
And you know what the Cardinals marketing team said? They've been doing some thinking about it, and they heard some stuff on Twitter and different things that they need to do it. I'm wondering, were they listening to us? You think they heard us and said, you know what? They need to do something. And then in the next game after that, Ryan Helsley had a new intro. And I thought that was pretty sweet. I think they can do a lot more with that intro.
Yeah.
But I think about it in the playoffs and how cool it will be.
Oh, yeah.
And how, like, scary. I don't know, scary is not the right word. Intimidating for the other team for that to happen.
When it hypes the crowd up, it hypes the fans up. I would say, and we talked about this, I would say crank up the audio a little bit more.
Yeah. So, like,
I love the lights, though.
Absolutely. So whenever I went to Atlanta last year, and it was the game they clinched the playoffs. When they won their division or wild card or whatever they did, wherever they clinched the division last year, or they clinched the playoffs. And whenever they would make a pitching change, they would turn off all the lights. They would light up the tops of the place blue, and then they were doing the chop, and then their phones were all on, and then the closer comes out, and it was spectacular. Like, literally goosebumps, awesome. And then the guy comes in and shuts him down, wins the game, it's over. You know what I mean? Like, it's like awesome. So the only thing I felt like the Helsley thing was missing was the crowd seemed really quiet.
Yeah,
they were just watching it, and I feel like
they didn't really know. They probably didn't know what was going on,
right?
Because it was the first time they'd done it.
But I feel like it needs a chant. It needs like the crowd needs something a part of it, because the bells are cool, right?
Yeah.
Bong,
and that's what I'm saying. I think if they crank that up louder to start with, that will get kind of like the trumpet, really, with Edwin Diaz. As soon as people hear, which there's a little bit of drum in that before, and that kind of gets people like, oh, he's coming in, and then you hear the trumpet. It's the same thing with Hell's Bells.
Or I think about the Undertaker. I don't know. That's like that. Or like I think of like then it needs a chant of some sort. I know that the chop obviously is a chant that I'm using as reference for a cool intro.
And Ryan Helsley is not a fan.
No, never would we do that. Never would that happen. But the point is,
he wouldn't like that.
No, but like just like a sports chant, like like just the different soccer ones, the something else that like gives it more depth. It needs flames, even the scoreboard with flames instead of just red,
or actual flames,
shooting like the fireworks flames. I don't know, something more, but like it needs more loudness from the fans. Part of it, in my opinion. One thing that the fans in St. Louis don't do, to me, is they're not very loud. Even in playoff games, they're not loud like you see a college game. There's like just not this constant noise. And Cardinals love to give out the rally towel, so there's no clapping either in playoffs.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of like, it's very strange if you go to a football game, NFL football game, or a college football game, or a college basketball game. St. Louis is just not very loud in comparison. So I think this is an opportunity to be able to use that and be able to get really hype for the closing of a playoff win and to clinch the playoffs, which would be very exciting. I hope you get to see that this weekend. I hope you get to see some cool.
I hope so, man. Yeah, I hope so.
We'll bring up the Breaking Tea.
I was gonna say, speaking of Ryan Helsley, let's bring this up here. So we are now.
Yeah, go ahead.
That's a winner podcast. Can you see that?
It's up. I'm gonna. Yeah, I think I can bring it up solo, but it's on the screen.
Nice. There we go. You can see that. So we are now an affiliate partner with BreakingTea.com. If you've never heard of Breaking Tea, they're a great graphic t-shirt website. They've been around for several years now. Built up a pretty good following on Twitter, Instagram, everywhere else. But their whole hashtag is Wear of the Moment, and they quite literally do that. I mean, they'll have shirts released all throughout the year, right?
Click
with
on
what's
one of them.
happening.
Click on one. Bring them up.
Let's see
Yes.
here.
So,
Here's Tommy Two Bags. Here.
oh yeah.
So this creation is straight from me. No, straight from Twitter.
Straight from Twitter. Yeah.
When Tommy had the walk-off double a couple nights ago, I tweeted at Breaking T. I was like, hey, Cardinals fans need a Tommy Two Bags t-shirt ASAP, please and thank you. And it was a day later that they had this baby done.
And a day later, you ordered it.
I did. True to my word. And you quote tweeted it and said, if this shirt is made, I don't want to see any more Tommy slander on my timeline.
That's right.
So I said, if they make it, I'll get it and wear it on the next podcast. I ordered it. It's not in yet. So the next off day we have, we're on the podcast. I promise I will be wearing the shirt. But as you can see here, I mean, the designs are great. You can get it in just a t-shirt. They've got hoodies.
That's what I like, the hoodies.
Yeah,
like, I don't really wear t-shirts, but
hoodies are nice.
Yeah.
And we're getting into that October weather. We had a little cold weather today. It's coming. So you can get your kid a t-shirt. They got women's shirts as well. Just about everyone. And their shirts, I've got a ton of their shirts. I showed one earlier tonight with Pujols that I'm wearing. Great material. I mean, 50, 40, 10, something else, 60, 40 cotton polyester. These are great shirts. They're not going to shrink if you dry them. They fit well. Here's Hell's Bells right here. There's Ryan Helsley. That's a new one.
There's the Pujols
one. That one's really cool.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a shirt probably that's going to stay that way for a while. You'll be able to, unless Albert comes back next year and hits 15, 16 more bombs.
You have to change that
one.
Maybe I think they'd be fine if you had to change it.
Yeah, maybe they give us all discounts if we shipped in our old shirt to get a new one where he slides in past Ruth.
And then grind the pepper there.
Oh, yeah, which is great. Everybody loves that right now with new bars. So they've got some cool ones. Our friends at Birds on the Black with Kyle Reese and Cardinals GIFs. At Cardinals GIFs here, he's got his own special release he's doing with them. He's got some really cool graphic tees. They've got a ton of great t-shirts on this website. I mean, you can find all kinds of stuff. But the big thing is use our link. If you go buy one of these t-shirts, breakingt.com/that'sthewinnerpod, we would greatly appreciate it. And they've got, it's not just the Cardinals. They've got every sport, just about every college team, football. You were looking at Colts stuff the other day, and you can still use our link to go to any of their other stuff on their website. They've got some great stuff, and it's all really creative and is really well done. And the material's great. So can't say enough good things about Breaking T. You should check them out.
Yeah. So we'll have the link on Spotify. We'll have the link on Facebook and everywhere else that you find us, Apple, all the podcast locations. You can find the link for there. But like Josh said, you can be able to click that link and then be able to go anywhere else on the website. So even though it opens up to the Cardinals apparel, as long as you use our link and get over to Colts and Pacers and IU and whatever, Arkansas or anywhere else, Mizzou, Illinois, any of those college teams or Chiefs, they have Chief stuff, they have Ram stuff. You need to get around that way. As long as you use our link, then we can get the credit for it. And then you're absolutely supporting us and supporting them at the same time.
And a pro tip with Breaking T as well. Great customer service. They love when people tweet their stuff. If you get a new shirt, you wear it, you take a picture of yourself, you tweet it out, you tag them, or you post it on Instagram and tag them, you can get 10% off your next order every time. They do that all the time. Also, once you buy, you make your 5th order on there, you become a VIP member. I've hit this list now because I've bought way too many shirts. But once you've hit your 5th order, you get free shipping for life.
Really?
So you save $5 every order then. And then if you're tagging them, you get another 10% off.
Well, and if you tag us as well, we'll retweet you as well and help you get some more followers as well. Because again, we really appreciate it. Now it's funny. One of our followers.
We need to get this one here. We're on the podcast sometimes. That's a winner one right there.
You have that one, right?
I don't. I need to get that one.
I've seen that one out before. But Karen, one of our followers, she said she ordered 8 shirts.
Thank you, Karen.
Week. So it's funny enough, and I told my wife, I said, this lady that follows us, she ordered 8 shirts. She goes, the lady we saw in Boston, and yes, it is the lady yes, who we saw in Boston. Went on the Boston trip to see the Cardinals. And I was like, how did you know that? She goes, I just guessed. I don't know. She just knew that Karen was a big fan, I guess. I don't know. And so Karen has ordered 8 shirts through our link. We really appreciate it. So anyone use it, get more t-shirts. I'm probably going to get a hoodie at some point. I don't know which one. I'm more of a hoodie guy, but I don't know which one. I mean, I love them all, to be honest.
Yeah. And some of them too, as you click on these, they'll have some different colors, some different color options. I saw that the other day with, I think, the Wayno and Yachty and Uncle Charlie one here. You can get it in red or you can get it in black. They've got all kinds of different stuff.
Their thing is, like, I don't even know how to explain it, but it's the moment.
Yeah,
It's
wear
like,
the moment. That's
it's
their
like
big hashtag.
whatever is like cool going on with your team, or funny slogans or funny events that happen, or big time events, that sort of thing. That's when they make a tee that no one else is making. Like you're not gonna see a St. Louis Cardinals t-shirt. Like it's not gonna
No.
say St. Louis Cardinals.
No.
It's gonna say, grind the pepper, because they're talking
Yeah.
about grinding the pepper. Like it's going to be relevant to what's happening now with the Cardinals
Yep.
or whatever team you decide you're going to purchase.
And it's cool. I mean, so they've clearly got some sort of deal with the players, because some of their
Right.
shirts you'll see will say like players, on it. And the Albert one I'm wearing that says respect, it's actually got his signature on the graphic tee. So you'll see that with some of them. I've seen this Yachty Albert Bueno last time we went to the game a few weeks ago. I saw tons of people wearing this shirt in white and red all around the ballpark. So that's a pretty popular one as well. They've got some good stuff. So use our link there, breakingt.com/.
I mean, we just
That's
gave
a
a hell of a
pod.
commercial. I mean, that was a
We did.
a good few minutes
It
of talking about.
was.
But
It's like a
you know,
nice little infomercial here.
yeah.
But they've got cool stuff.
it is cool. Like not
fun
like
to
it's
have
garbage.
those. No, no.
We want to be partnered with people that we would purchase. And you obviously wearing it before we even had that partnership.
Yeah.
So, that's what it's all about. Really, that's what we're into is, dealing with companies and people that we like. We now have 3 sponsors on the show, so that helps be able to bring good content and also be able to give giveaways. So the good point to plug the giveaway. Paul Goldschmidt is struggling right now, and he's struggling for that Triple Crown, but all he needs to do is win the MVP, and you can still win a jersey from us if you retweet our tweet and you like our tweet and you're following us. As long as you're doing those things, you're in the running for it anyways.
Yep.
We're like 400-ish people that are in the drawing right now. So, 1 in 400 chance to get a free jersey is not too bad.
Tell your friends.
Yeah, just
He's
jump
still
on.
got a very good chance to win MVP for sure.
But I just want to point out, whenever I initially put that tweet out, I put a vote. Do you want the free jersey based on Albert hitting 700 home runs or Paul Goldschmidt getting MVP? Unanimously, I mean, I wouldn't say unanimous. 80% of people said Paul Goldschmidt and the MVP. What say you right now? What's more likely to happen?
Oh,
Albert Pujols 700 or Goldie MVP?
I'm actually gonna go with both.
Yeah, you can't. It's not an option. It's not an option.
More
What
likely,
is more likely to happen right now? I'm gonna put this as a poll tonight too.
More likely right now feels like Albert.
It does.
I mean, the tear that he's on, it feels
and
like
the slumping of Goldie right now makes
Yeah,
you go, oh crap, maybe Arenado could come and swoop in and get this MVP and make me more money for my bet that I put in at the beginning of the season.
Yeah. Unless Goldie gets really hot again. I mean, because a lot of people aren't talking about him a whole lot, but Mookie Betts having a really, really good year too.
Yeah.
Average isn't up there like Freddie and Goldie, but
I mean,
all the other numbers are.
Goldie is still leading in lots of categories.
RBI, he's right there in home run. I think he's second or third still in that second.
Goldie not winning would still be a travesty at this point.
It would.
Even if he slumps the rest of the season.
Yeah.
It would
And
still be a travesty.
I wonder if part of people voting that, especially for jerseys, is the fact that, you're going to have Paul Goldschmidt for a couple more years, which you're going to wear a Pujols jersey just as much as you would a Goldie one.
Now you will.
Yeah. But I wonder if even more too, it's that, man, how long has it been since we've had MVP? Is 2009? Was that the last time Albert won one?
Yeah. That would be
I mean, it's been over a decade.
Right.
So maybe people were just really excited for the podcast,
Yeah, but
which is exciting.
But we
for
may
sure.
never see 700 again.
No,
in baseball.
we won't.
In baseball. And let alone will we see 700 again in a Cardinal uniform.
We
right?
will not.
You know what I mean? Like I saw this the other day was Arenado, Goldie, Tommy, Gorman, O'Neill have less home runs than Albert Pujols in his career.
Yeah.
So 700,
Crazy.
700 is massively historic. It doesn't feel that way right now because we've seen it from Bonds in our lives, and
Right.
and
Alex Rodriguez.
Yeah, and Alex Rodriguez, it doesn't seem that unattainable. But when you're talking about Trout has 300 home runs.
Yeah.
It's going to be the next guy that possibly does it is someone that's breaking out right now in their 20s, in their early 20s. You're talking about Fernando Tatis,
Yeah.
Roids, who's now he's not going to even get the same. You're talking about Julio Rodriguez. You're talking about dudes at that Juan Soto types of, the careers at the trajectory stay.
Yeah, Trout's at 344.
It's
Going on his 13th year next year.
right. It's just probably never going to happen
It's
again.
not.
So yes, Goldie winning MVP would be historic in the St. Louis Cardinal uniform. To win the Triple Crown would be 85 years, unbelievable.
Yeah.
700 would be, to me, just as important as Triple Crown right now. I mean, like, very close of, even though it has happened more recently, but the future in which it's not going to happen.
No.
I think the Triple Crown is going to be more obtainable going forward because of the strikeouts and home run. So there's going to be guys like Goldie who hit for average that's still going to be there.
Well, I think that's what's so unique about Goldschmidt even being in this year, because you don't see many guys hitting over 310, much less over 320.
Right.
And
hit home runs.
Yes. And well, that's the other thing too with the home runs. You know, a lot of guys, I still feel like you see, you know, it's surprising to me that Pete Alonso's not over 45.
Right.
Because he hit 54 or whatever his rookie. So usually you see there's only, you know, one person that hits a bunch more home runs than everybody else.
Right.
I think that's why it probably hasn't happened in the National League for so long. So I hope he does. I hope he does both. Obviously,
I hope
good
both
for
happens.
us.
I hope all three happens. I hope 700 happens for Pujols. I hope MVP in the Triple Crown, and then the Cardinals win the World Series. And it's just,
that'd be fantastic.
Like, this Cardinals team is more fun than it has been, even though they haven't been playing well in the last 2 weeks, and we've scraped by in the last 2 weeks. This
7-3.
This team has been more fun to follow.
Oh yeah.
Than you know, last year's 17-game win streak was awesome.
And we got to see that part of that history, and that was unforgettable in that way. But I will say, you know, the win streak that last year was awesome. It was historic, but we knew, like, it's kind of going to be a bummer if we don't go far in the playoffs.
Right. It's all for naught.
Yes. This year for me with Albert, obviously I want the Cardinals to go all the way. Don't want them to lose the first round. He's already made this season one of my favorites in the last 10 years. Even if the playoffs suck and we lose the first round, which I don't want to happen, and I'm going to be bitter about, just like I was with the Dodgers last year, I'm still going to look back on this season as, man, I saw Albert come back and do something, like, insane.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
It really
still going to make me love the season.
It really is. I mean, I think back to, again, as a whole season, I can't think of a whole season that I've had this, because in 2011, the last month was unbelievable.
Yeah, everything else kind of sucked of that season. Injuries and everything else.
In 2011, I was broke. I didn't have the money to go, to go and spend and to go places. But I almost booked a trip to Houston to go watch them come all the way back and then clinch a playoff berth in the last game, because it was like, we're making the playoffs now.
Yeah,
like it was that historic of a run.
Carpenter was on the mound.
It was that historic of a run. Like, we're making the playoffs. Like, I need to get to Houston and go. I didn't do it because I was poor. But that month was fun. This year has been fun. You know what I mean? Like,
the whole season.
I can't think of a season that has been that way.
Well, and it's been so many, like, chapters.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, Arenado came out the gate on fire for a month and a half, and that made it so fun. And Albert got his first home run at home coming back, and then goalie started turning.
Gorman came up.
And Yepez and brought some fire for a while. It's like every month you had something. It wasn't always just one person.
Yeah.
And now the second half has been Albert. And it's, you know what I first thought when 2011 came around? Adam Wainwright tore his UCL in spring training. I thought, well, there goes this season. That was, I mean, I cannot tell you one highlight moment before September.
Right.
It was 2011.
It was rough.
It was really bad.
And they won 80.
I remember Rasmus being all pissy with Tony La Russa.
Games?
I remember that.
Was that 06? They won 83. They won 80.
Yeah.
So 86-ish games they won then in 11.
Yeah, 80. I mean, just got in the last day.
Yeah, like they weren't 06 and 11 weren't good ball clubs.
No.
Like, they had good pieces and they played well together.
They got hot at the right time.
Hot. And that's what I fear, that they peaked too soon for this team. But I think this team is
There's
built.
still time to peak again.
This team is built differently than any team the Cardinals have had in maybe my lifetime. Like, the youth, veteran leadership. Like, Yadier Molina, for that stretch just in the last week, was batting like 8 for his last 16 and was coming through in the clutch. And it was like, you know what? That's what you expect from Yadier Molina in September. Like, I think it's important that this team makes a run in the playoffs to be able to pass the baton to the young guys so they know what it feels like to win a little bit. Whether that means they just make it to the World Series, make it to the NLCS.
Yeah.
Like, it's important to pass this on, because guys like Yepes and Donovan and maybe Burleson fits into those categories, or give Arenado and Goldie a taste of a real run.
Yeah.
But like Gorman has hit 29 home runs this year between AAA and MLB. Like he's going to hit 30 home runs for you next year, at least, right? 30 to 40 home runs. Like these guys need to feel what it's like to do this with this veteran leadership and then be able to take the reins on their own going forward.
Yeah, I totally agree. Maybe one thing to wrap this up here as we get past our hour mark, like we
Hour
normally
10.
do.
Yeah, no.
We were talking about we'll never see 700 home runs again, which I don't think we will.
Yep.
Another record that's going to be broken Wednesday is Wainwright and Yachty.
Yes.
All-time starts record as a battery together. I mean, worth mentioning obviously here because it'll be past the time before we have another podcast. Next week, most likely, I think is one of the next off days that we'll have the opportunity to do that. Next Monday, the 19th, is the next off day. So we'll be 4 or 5 days past that, but obviously that's going to happen Wednesday. That's a huge deal. You're talking about another record that's never ever going to be broken. That one to me in some ways is almost less likely to be broken than the 700. I mean, they're like equally at the top of.
It's
you
kinda
just
like,
don't ever see.
I think at this point it's like Cal Ripken's games played.
The longevity that it's just never going to happen.
Like,
and staying with a team, two people
yes.
staying with a team that long.
And catchers just don't play that long, right? Catchers don't play that long. Pitchers can go that long. It's usually the soft tossing type of guys. But what's crazy to me is Waino came in as a reliever.
Yeah.
Like, all those games that he, the 06 run were throwing to Yachty, not in starts, and those games did not count on this list.
And you had 2011 was a wash,
right?
With the UCL tear.
2020 as well.
2020
only got so many starts. Like
18 and 19, he almost retired,
right?
Because he was so bad. And then you had 2015 where he tore his Achilles swinging the bat.
Yeah. So I mean, there's all those things that made it less likely to happen. But I think more important to those guys was winning. The breaking the record for the most wins as a battery.
Yeah.
Like I think that they're happy to have this win under their belt, but they already beat these guys in wins.
Yeah.
Which I think is more important to anyone, is that you won more than anybody else. Now that you've appeared more, you should obviously also have the win.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think those two are some of the most iconic Cardinals of all time. And I think that you will retire both numbers. I think that Waino is fringe for that, but he's also won 2 World Series, obviously with Yachty as well. And I think that Yachty is a statue guy. I don't know that Waino is.
I think in some ways, like I would consider like Chris Carpenter probably before I would Waino in terms of a statue.
Right, but
right at this point,
statues only come if you are a Hall of Famer.
That's true. Well, so what we need is Wainwright to come back next year and get to 200 wins and then make the Hall of Fame.
Yes, absolutely. I think we need him.
And I think we'll talk about that a lot in the offseason, but I think that's going to happen. I hope it does.
I think we'll talk about a lot of that in the offseason. One last thing I have is we have like thousands of tweets coming through, but name a more iconic duo than Max Kellerman and worst sports takes of all time. There we go.
Skip Bayless might be the only other one that I could think of off the top of my head.
Speaking of great duos of Adam Wainwright and Yadier Molina,
yes,
we'll end with Max Kellerman and bad takes.
Yeah.
There we go.
He's at the top of that list.
Maybe he'll see all these tweets that everyone's at him, and maybe he'll be like, I want to come on your show. I don't know. Maybe not.
That would be great. Yeah. I'd love to grill him on how serious he was about that.
Right. And if I would too. But all right, that's
prepared to be sued.
Yeah. I don't know if it's enough to sue the way that he phrased it.
No. He covered his bases.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's it for That's a Winner podcast. Follow us on Twitter at That's a Winner Pod. Be sure to retweet the giveaway. Be sure to check out the Breaking Tees link as well to be able to order your shirts and mugs and hoodies, all those things. And keep respect. That's the Pujols one. And Tommy Two Bags is coming soon for Josh to be able to wear as well. That's all I got. I'm Ryan Jenkins. That's Josh Brown. Thanks for listening to That's a Winner podcast.
Shooter from the plate. That's a winner. That's a winner. A World Series winner for the Cardinals. Smith corks one into right down the line. It may go. Go crazy, folks. Go crazy. It's a home run, and the Cardinals have won the game by the score of 3-2 on a home run by the Wizards. Go crazy. Swinging a long one into left field. Adios, goodbye, and maybe that's the winner. A 3-run homer by Clark, and the Cardinals lead by the score of 7-5, and they may go to the World Series on that one, folks.
What a team. What a ride. The Cardinals are world champs in 2011.